Hey, Ray, Tracy, my brother. What up, OB? Yeah.
It's OB on the track.
I keep good gas, like I work at a sitcom. Spending racks and I'm living fast, cause I used to be dead broke. Please don't spell nothing on me, my jacket costs a couple of G's.
Konstantin Cybulski. He was a Russian scientist who invented the rocket equation. And this is a re-upload, by the way. I've already made this video, but it was corrupted, so I'm making it again. So, yes. First, before we actually dive into the equation itself, we have to understand Newton's second and third law of motion. And let's go with the second one first. So, Newton's second law of motion, I'm sure we're all familiar with it if we've taken high school physics. It's force is equal to mass multiplied by acceleration. And, actually, sorry for the voice crack. Actually, you probably learn in 7th or 8th grade, depending on where you are in the United States, or even if you're watching from somewhere else, then you probably learned it even earlier. But, so yeah, force equals mass multiplied by acceleration. And then his third law of motion is the transfer of energy, or any action has an opposite reaction. So, for example, I have, let's see here, let's grab the black queen. I have the black queen. This is a chess piece, and this chess piece, as it sits on my hand, is stationary. Nothing's acting on the chess piece to make it move in the first place. Now let's say I were to have potential energy. You can see that the tension between my middle finger and my thumb is creating potential energy. When I release it, it's transferred into kinetic energy, and that's my thumb moving. When I flip the piece, the chess piece will move. And the chess piece moves because the energy is transferred from the kinetic energy of my finger into the piece, which then has the piece fly. Alright, let me grab the piece. So, this is very important when it comes to rocket science, in the way where, of course, we're going to need a propellant. And that propellant, or the way we propel the machine in the first place, is through propulsion, rocket propulsion. And so, how would we express something like that in mathematics? Well, it's not just the propulsion that we have to keep into account. We also have to keep into account different variables that the rocket relies on in order to take flight in the first place. Which, I'm going to have to erase this, and we can actually see what exactly I mean by this. Give me one sec. So, while I'm erasing this, you guys should look up Newton's second and third law, if you don't quite understand it, by the way I was talking about it. Alright. Now, Cybulski's rocket equation, also known as delta V, is delta V is equal to effective exhaust velocity multiplied by the neutral logarithm multiplied by wet mass divided by dry mass. And you might be wondering what this means. So first, we have to sort of define some of the variables within this equation. And we're going to start from right to left. So let's start with dry and wet mass. What is the dry and wet mass of a rocket? That's very simple. Let's say we were to have a theoretical rocket. Here's our rocket. Here's the fuel, and here's the oxidizer. They meet into a little combustion area, which is then transformed into pressurized gas, which then combusts and is expelled into ignited fuel, which is represented by kinetic energy. This is a loss of mass from the fuel, and then it is transferred into acceleration of the rocket. So there's the model, if you can see it. Let's see if it's in the focus. Yes. So there it is. That's our little rocket right there. And what this has to do with wet and dry mass is wet mass is the weight of the rocket completely, including the rocket's body and the fuel within the rocket. And then the dry mass is the mass of the rocket without any of the fuel inside at all. So it's just the frame of the rocket. And so we have that down. And remember, this is for wet mass. This is for dry. Great. Now, the neutral logarithm. That's really simple. Anybody who's taken high school math would know that the neutral logarithm can be expressed by, first you have to know what E is equal to. So E is equal to 2.718, which is, E is also an irrational number. So that's sort of an estimate of it. It's sort of like pi where it goes on forever. So ln is x to the E power. So depending on where you are during the flight of the rocket, so I actually have a graph pulled up here, and you are able to see that you have graph here, and this will be represented as delta V divided by effective exhaust velocity, and this is the mass ratio. And what happens is it increases exponentially. This is because, as we see in Newton's second law of motion, as fuel is expelled from the rocket, say this is our rocket, and let's say this is the fuel inside the rocket from here. Once the fuel is expelled from the rocket loses some of its mass from the fuel loss, and it's converted into acceleration, and it's accelerating an object that's no longer as massive as it used to be. So that's really important. And then, or that's effective exhaust velocity, I'm sorry. But what makes E really important in that is from these different parts of the graph, E affects these different units exponentially from x to the E power. Sick. So, we have that out of the way. Now we just have to do a few more things. How would we, right here, this kinetic energy, how would we calculate this kinetic energy inside the rocket during the rocket equation? Well, first, we would have to understand how to calculate kinetic energy in the first place. And again, if you've taken high school physics, then you would know that kinetic energy is equivalent to 1/2 multiplied by mass multiplied by velocity squared. Pretty simple. And then, last but not least, the only thing we would have to do now is we'd have to figure out how on earth we would get, how on earth, through schematics, we'd be able to convey information to a rocket engineer that mass is being expelled from the rocket. That is the initial mass multiplied by, not V2, sorry, the initial velocity is equivalent to the loss of mass multiplied by the velocity. So, this is the rocket equation. This is basic rocket science. Oh, I forgot something. Alright. I forgot to explain the mathematics behind effective exhaust velocity, because I already got the neutral logarithm all explained. So effective exhaust velocity is extremely important because that's what takes into account the sort of gravity inside, being calculated inside the equation. All right, so I have the standard gravity pulled up here, and it's 9.80665 meters a second squared. So we have that, and basically what it is effective exhaust velocity is equal to, what do we have here? Specific impulse, and that is multiplied by the standard gravity. Okay, now you should be able to solve the rocket equation.